It's part 216, line 18Y, velocity, nephrology-hypertension, linear elasticity, Mars 500 5G Wow Seti. There's the alien radio signal. And the keywords in line 18D, January 29th, 2012 is when I started working on this, and today's May the 5th when I'm filming it. Sherpa is in Wow Seti lines 18B, 18D, and 18E. Data is in the lines 18B, 18D, 18E. GNA is Gauss-Newton and is in video number 9, line 17T2 and line 18D, 18F. The title of line 17T2, Bada Fiber Optics, Vernier Sensoid Molecular Vibration, Superluminosal Energy Transport Wow Seti. And data found in line 17T2, Gauss-on curves also mentions in line 18D, and Gauss-on functions linked with Bodka. Quote from line 17T2 about Bodka: "We propose a simple technique that is able to mitigate non-local effects in Brilliant optical time domain analysis Bodka sensors. The technique consists in pulsing the probe waves so that the Brilliant interaction only takes place in a portion of the fiber. The word Brilliant is found in line 17T2, line 17T3, and line 17T4B, the alien video message, and line 18D. As of January 29, 2012, lines 19 to 27 are still being researched. Something told me to start connecting the words together from each line of data in the alien radio SETI signal called WOW, received August 15, 1977 by NASA SETI teams. Titles where data is found for Brilliant is line 17T2, Bodka Fiber Optics, Vernier Sinusoid Molecular Vibration, Superluminosal Energy Transport Wow Seti. Line 17T3, Electromagnetic Solitons, CERN Boffins, Neutrinos Brilliant, Proton Pulses Wow Seti. Line 17T4B, Alien Contact Travel Black Hole Universe UFO, Velocity Equation Wow Seti. Please note, line 17T4B is an alien meditation message containing algorithms and ancient mathematics in its equations. It was received January 20th, 2012 at 10:39 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and is called Building Blocks of the Universe. The second message received January 21st, 2012 at 10:32 p.m. EST was the Maya Alien Contact message by the iDirgo Says YouTube during one of her Sulfrago Music Alien Speech NASA 40-minute meditations with clear quartz crystals. In line 17T2, the word billion is linked to the following. Quote, data found: pulsing the probe wave to reduce non-local effects in Brilliant optical time domain analysis Bodka sensors. Brilliant frequency shift can give the temperature or strain information as the following equation. And that's the equation there. In line 17T3, the word billion is linked to the following: electromagnetic solitons produced by stimulated Brilliant pulsations. A regime of pulsating and stimulated Brilliant scattering are present. Google pulsating stimulated Brilliant scattering. Data to read about CERN boffins, neutrino speed test along with the word proton pulse. Soliton shape while propagating with n equals 2, it changes its shape periodically. Then a PDF file comes up called electromagnetic solitons and fully relativistic electron-positron plasmas with finite temperature from Nancy Lee, Department of Physics, March 2011. Relativistic electron-positron plasmas. Doing a notebook search for line 17T3 later for this term. Still working on the data from Brilliant. Line 17T4B, the word Brilliant comes up in the titles from line 17T3. Here's the list of videos found on line 14TB. Line 17E is Leonard Euler's formula polarization Starlight Alchemist Wow Seti. Line 17T is Build Alien UFO Engine Maya Wow Seti Instruction Ideas. Line 17T2 is Bata Fiber Optics Vernier Sinusoid Molecular Vibration Superluminosal Energy Transport Wow Seti. Line 17T3 is Electromagnetic Solitons CERN Boffins Neutrinos Brilliant Proton Pulses Wow Seti. Line 17T4A is the UFO alien contact equation given January 22nd, 2012, Velocity, My Thoughts, Wow Seti. Line 17T4B, alien contact, travel, black hole, universe, UFO, velocity equation, Wow Seti. As you can see, the topics are in the keywords, written in the titles and based on the subject matter of lines 17 and 18. They are all connected in some way or shape or form, either by mathematical equations, functions, logarithms, and algorithms, or by the data structured here. I'm assuming that all these components are needing a connection here to build the UFO engine, because the words speed, velocity, the algorithms of speed and velocity come together in these lines of data found in the alien Wow Seti signal from 1977. The next line for the word brilliant to appear is in line 18F, where we've created a cross-reference of data. The LMA Levenberg-Marquardt algorithm, LMA, it appears in line 18D and line 18F cross-reference. In line 18D, the word LMA or Levenberg-Marquardt algorithm search brings up this: choose a robust optimization method for the fit Levenberg-Marquardt. So, quote, robust optimization is a field of optimization theory, that's a theory, that deals with optimization problems where robustness is sought against uncertainty and or variability in the value of a parameter of the problem. In words, the robustness, radius, or stability of decision X is the radius of the largest ball center at U, all of whose elements satisfy the stability requirements imposed on X. The picture is this. So there's your picture with your formulas and mathematical equations there, where the rectangle UX represents the set of all the values associated with decision X. Okay, so data for you to read is global robustness. X and Y come up here, and in other Wow Seti lines of data found. Quote, in decision theory and game theory, Wald's maximum model is a non-probabilistic decision-making model according to which decisions are ranked on the basis of their worst-case outcomes. That is, the best optimal decision is one whose worst outcome is at least as good as the worst outcome of any other decision. It is one of the most important models in robust decision-making in general and robust optimization in particular. It is also known by a variety of other titles such as Wald's maximum rule, Wald's maximum principle, Wald's maximum paradigm, and Wald's maximum criterion. Often minimax is used instead of maximum. Graph of a paraboloid given by fxy equals x2 plus y2 plus 4 in brackets and then plus 4. The global maximum at 0, 0, 4 is indicated by a red dot, which at the very top, this is the little red dot up here. Okay. So in the simplest case, an optimization problem consisting of maximizing or minimizing a real function by systematically choosing input values from within a allowed set and computing the value of the function. My thoughts, January 29, 2012, 2:26 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I just posted a note on Facebook that I think I've cracked the code for that alien message that was received, the second mathematical equation, and filmed in line 17T4B. It has x to the power of 2 and r with an equation of r99 divided by 100. Velocity only, my equation doesn't have the 0.99 now. When I put the r right beside the 99, nothing happens here. So what's the 0.99 velocity mean? Let's Google r099 velocity and find out. Oh my god. So MR flow mapping and coronary artery bypass graphs and validation results. Excellent correlations in average peak velocity is r equals 0.99, p minus 0.001, and diastolic peak velocity, r equals 0.99, p 0.001, were demonstrated by in vitro. Posted on Facebook and Twitter. NASA study, wow, excellent correlations in average peak velocity. R equals 0.99, p less than 0.001, UFO engine velocity equation, found in line 17T4B, video from alien math equation. For performing your original search, R099 velocity in PubMed will retrieve 299 records. January 29, 2012, 2:41 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My thoughts. Wow, 299 records come up with the R0.99 velocity Google search on PubMed. U.S. National Library of Medicine, National Institutes of Health. So that's at www.ncbi.nlm.nih.gov. Going through the 299 documents to see what stands out for the word velocity. This one has pulse wave velocity, which is what you need for the neutrinos to travel faster than the speed of light. Take a look. Can this be used at CERN? Let's see. Reproducibility of regional pulse wave velocity in uremic subjects. From UO Nephrology. PAO Dolfoni Solfraga in Italy. That's their email address if you want to contact them. Abstract. Despite the clinical importance of pulse wave velocity, there are no standards for accurate carotid radial pulse wave measurements in uremic patients. With respect to carotid femoral measurement, we assess the reproducibility of PMW values using the carotid radial PMW measurement. Again, that's the website there. So January 29, 2012, 2:58 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My thoughts. I just signed up to get into the data found at the National Center for Biotechnology Information. Cool. They have DNA stuff in genomes. I can look at that when I do some more crop circle research because alien and human DNA binary code was found in the Arecibo and the Chilbolton crop circle messages from a gray alien who states that he lives in the Kepler 22b region, close by where constant alien radio signals are being picked up from December 2011 and January 2012. Seems to be in relation to health issues, which would be useful in a space environment for an astronaut, as it talks about traveling in a UFO engine-powered spacecraft, my alien message. Okay, so January 2006, it says zero-field partial Fourier phase contrast MR imaging in vitro and in vivo assessment. Purpose is to validate partial Fourier phase contrast magnetic resonance PCMR with a full number of excitation NEX PCMR measurements in vitro and in vivo. Materials and methods. MR flow measurements were performed using a partial Fourier and full NEX PCMR sequence in a flow phantom and in 10 popliteal and renal arteries of 10 different healthy volunteers. Average velocity, peak velocity, and flow results were calculated and compared with regression analysis. Looks like something to do with the velocity of blood flow. This is what originally came out with the Google search for R99 divided by 100 equals 0.99. Results. Excellent correlations in average velocities, peak velocities, and flow rates were demonstrated in vitro between the two different acquisitions. For the popliteal arteries, there was an excellent correlation between peak velocities for both acquisitions. R equals 0.98, P is less than 0.001. The correlation of average velocity measurements when using all data points in the cardiac cycle for all volunteers was 0.96. For the renal arteries, the same comparison resulted in a good correlation for average velocity and peak velocity measurements, although the correlation coefficient for flow rates was 0.88. Blurring of the vessel margins was consistently observed on magnitude images acquired with the partial Fourier method, causing overestimation of the vessel area and some error in the flow measurements. Conclusion: partial Fourier PCMR is able to provide comparable average and peak velocity values when using one NEX PCMRI as a reference. So January 29, 2012, 3 o'clock. My thoughts. I'm going to end that search. It's taking up too much time. I may have to divide each tagged word in this cross-reference in their own modules by the looks of the amount of data that came up for the last word. Sorry, I had a gut feeling to keep going, and I'm glad I did. We did a Google on popliteal artery to find out what it was and got this. NASA astronaut talking about popliteal artery injuries associated with knee dislocation. 3 cases in NASA from space.com. Popliteal artery injuries associated with knee dislocation. Old astronaut says space.com. So he's talking about knees being dislocated by the astronauts going up into space. The next link talks about NASA is trying to figure out how to stop bone loss from skeletal unloading from the velocity equation found in the Maya alien contact message video, line 17T4B. And so then we did some more research here, and we got why astronauts suffer bone loss, and this is from medicalnewstoday.com. February 2004, the big problem that NASA is facing in their plans to send a manned stop bone loss from skeletal unloading will impact more than just a few astronauts. And then it talks about Baker cyst, popliteral cyst, Balantis, spiral thine cyst, bed sores, pressure, corns, calluses, coronary heart diseases, coronary artery diseases. These are all things that these astronauts seemingly are dealing with up in space. So I'm going to Google skeletal unloading to see what it is. The impact of skeletal unloading on bone formation. It's a PDF file from D.D. Bickle. Skeletal unloading leads to decreased bone formation and decreased bone mass. Skeletal unloading provides a perturbation in bone mineral homeostasis. Now I know why I signed up for this site. It tells me about human DNA and genomes, so I can search for the following: PDH1 and 25, OH2D3, FGF23. And what comes up is hormonal regulation of bone mineral homeostasis from Touch musculoskeletal.com. So it's the integration of hormone action at the tissue level. Figure 1 introduces the major hormones PTH125. So I googled them to find out what they are. Search in PTH125 PubMed, and this comes up. So I went into the publishing medical things to see if they have anything about it. January 2012, this came up. 1-34 parathyroid hormone infusion accurately lowers fibroblast growth factor 23 concentrations in adult volunteers. That's from Nemges. Source: University of Alabama. Background and objectives: fibroblast growth factor 23, FGF23, regulates phosphorus and vitamin D metabolism. Parathyroid hormone PTH. Sorry. I just got a drink delivered to me. Some pop. 24-hour stimulated FGF23 secretion in healthy volunteers. The extent which is due to direct stimulatory effect of PTH versus an indirect effect of increasing 125. Eek, it's warm. Dihydroxy vitamin D levels was unclear. This is a lot of medical stuff here. Design settings, participants and measurements, changes in, okay. This is all the results, I guess, from this thing. In regards to PT125, oh, there's the publishing that it came on, okay. Refer to NASA for astronauts that suffer bone loss or skeletal unloading, provides a perturbation in bone mineral homeostasis. The successful results from a January 2012 experiment from Clin J. M. Soknafrol. Google his name to see what it is. January 29, 2012. And this came up. Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology. So that's what they are. So Clinical Journal of the American Society. Skip to main page. Okay, sorry. Nephrology, from the Greek, combined with the suffix. The study of is a branch of internal medicine and pediatrics dealing with the study of the function and diseases of the kidney. What's nephrology is the kidney. Conclusions: during short-term PTH infusion, FGF23 levels decrease in parallel with serum phosphate levels, and despite significant increases in 125, when coupled with the results of prior long-term infusion studies, these findings suggest that acute increases in PTH initially act to suppress FGF23 secretion, perhaps to mitigate urinary phosphate losses. Okay, let's scoot down here. Google nephrology NASA astronauts, and it talks about nephrology and hypertension. NASA research has examined why astronauts lose postural control of blood pressure on their return from space flight. Another problem they have. January 29, 2012, my thoughts while searching for this information about NASA astronauts. And how they lose postural control of blood pressure. An interesting article caught my eye here. Hubble site, black holes, gravity's relentless pull. Two colliding black holes send ripples through the space-time fabric of the universe that are called gravitational waves. What happens when black holes collide? So we get the galaxy NCG 6240 has two black holes, like the alien message says. That's how the Maya travel from one side of the universe to another in record UFO time. There's a picture there. The galaxy NCG 6240 hosts two supermassive black holes near its center, blue dots on the right that may one day collide with each other. Two colliding black holes send ripples through the space-time fabric of the universe that are called gravitational waves. There's a picture there of something. One of the two LIGO gravitational wave observatories, that's what it is, Hanford, Washington, USA, and 2.5-mile-long pipes laser beams are used to search for gravitational waves. Gravitational waves have never been directly observed, however they are a fundamental prediction of Einstein's theory of general relativity. Detecting them would provide an important test of our understanding of gravity. It would also provide important new insights into the physics of black holes. Large instruments capable of detecting gravitational waves from outer space have been built in recent years. Even more powerful instruments are under construction. The moment they detect the first gravitational wave, you are sure to hear about it. Wow. Okay, hold on. Oh, this is never ending. Okay, so it's almost done. Sorry. I didn't realize it was so long. Okay, so let's go Google gravitational waves. So in physics, gravitational waves are theoretical ripples in the curvature of space-time which propagate as a wave traveling outward from the source, predicted to exist by Albert Einstein in 1916 on the basis of his theory of general relativity. Gravitational waves theoretically transport energy as gravitational radiation. Sources of detectable gravitational waves could possibly include binary star systems composed of white dwarfs, neutron, and black holes. Okay, I'm not going to go into it. So January 29th, I moved some of the data from this section over to the Alien Messages and Crop Circles video series. Mars 500, as their mission is called, is jointly sponsored by the Institute for Biomedical Problems and the European Space Agency. It seeks to answer a question that looms as the EU, the US, and Russia and India all look to put a man on Mars by the 2030s. Can the human animal endure long isolation and boredom implicit in traveling to a planet that is at its closest 35 million miles and roughly 6 months of rocket travel away? Will one of the volunteers crack before the Fox mission's scheduled conclusion on November 5th, 2011? So here's the guys that are in the testing part. The members of Mars 500, after spending 1 full year confined in their spaceship only 155 days ago. Okay. There's the Mars 500. That's what it looks like. The 3D plan of the experimental complex, the large brown module, contained the mock-up of the Martian surface. That's cool. Overhead plan of the experimental complex. Mars 500 is a psychosocial experiment conducted by Russia, Europe, and China in preparation for manned space flight to the planet Mars. I can see now why travel timing is so important. If we can build the UFO engine before 2030, then these astronauts will have a much more enjoyable flight to Mars. At the rate they fly now, it takes 17 months to get there. Back to the search. OH2D3 and FGF23. Google search for OH2D3. So performing your original search, OH2D3, I guess that was a rabbit trail. Kind of broke up the monotony of all this data though, right? So 24-hour, 25-dihydroxyvitamin D3 controls growth plate development by inhibiting apostasis in the reserve zone and stimulating responses to 1-alpha-25 in hypertrophic cells. Boyan, this is source is Wallace H. Kuchar, Department of Biomedical Engineering. Abstract. Previously we showed. Sorry, can I have water, please? This is warm. I'm filming. I know, but I'm filming right now. You have to wait till I'm done filming. Thanks. Okay. Previously we showed that coastal chondral growth plate resting zone. Sorry about that. RC chondrocytes response primarily to 24-hour 25 2D3 whereas pre-hypertrophic and hypertrophic GC cells respond to 1-alpha. Increases RC cell proliferation and inhibits activity of matrix processing enzymes, suggesting it stabilizes cells in the reserve zone, possibly by inhibiting the matrix degradation characteristics of apoptotic hypertrophic CG cells. These results suggest the 24-hour modulation growth plate development by controlling the rate and extent of RC concatrite transition to a GC concatrite phenotype. It's all Greek to me, people. I don't know what that means. Here's some more stuff here. This is calcitriol compound summary. I don't know what this is. More stuff. Molecular. There's the molecular stuff. There you go. The physiologically active form of vitamin D. Oh, it is formed primarily in the kidney by enzyme. Its production is stimulated by low blood calcium levels and parathyroid hormone. Okay. Let's see. Nuclear receptor, ROR gamma. Stuff doesn't even make sense. It's all over the place. I got a lot of keywords and I just Googled them all to see what they meant. FGF23, fibroblast growth factor 23, is a protein that in humans is encoded by the gene. Is a member of the fibroblast growth factor family, which is responsible for phosphate metabolism. FGF family members possess broad mitogenic and cell survival activities and are involved in a variety of biological processes, including embryonic development, cell growth, and morphogenesis. Tissue repair, tumor growth, and invasion. The product of this gene inhibits renal tubular phosphate transport. Okay, you can read that by Googling FGF23, okay? Perform the function of FGF23, the putative protein was known as phosphatone. So I Googled phosphatone, and what does it say? This file, phosphatonin, is a new class of phosphate regulating proteins, came up. It's a PDF file. Applied Genomics, it's from 2002. Genzyme Corporation. A purpose of the review: there is an intimate relationship between phosphate and calcium homeostasis throughout the animal kingdom. One traditional assumption is that all phosphate regulating hormones are primarily calcium regulating hormones. Although the notion of a circulating substance dedicated to phosphate homeostasis has existed for more than a decade, it is not until recently that these hormones have been identified. The molecular characterization of these substances will prove to be critical for understanding phosphate physiology and clinical disorders of phosphate and metabolism. Recent findings: this review will focus primarily on the first two proteins recently shown to have phosphatonin properties, using 3 human diseases as models and a combination of positional cloning and differential gene expressions. Fibroblast growth factor 23 and frizzled-related protein 4 were shown to be associated with one or more of these diseases. Although both of these substances have phosphoric action, their biological effects are likely to extend beyond ethyl phosphate transport. So the summary is: phosphotonins are a growing family of substances that may act on multiple organs in autocrine, paracrine, and endocrine modes to regulate phosphate metabolism. So there's that. You can look that up. So I googled differential gene expressions, and it responds to signals or triggers, gene regulation, hormones, fibroblast growth factor, elevated fibroblast growth factor 23, risk factor for the kidney, diet for diabetes and chronic kidney disease comes up. Then we have abnormalities, weight bearing on bone mass, astronauts, talking about NASA's again. LDLR, low density lipoprotein receptor, Homo sapiens. I'll be blogging all this on the Victoria Stafford, a psychic investigation, so you can look at all the links, and I'll try to organize them better than this. I didn't realize this was so long. So relaxation per training, pulse wave velocity. My thoughts, January 29, 2012, 5:31 p.m. This is a switch. We go from health information about the body to some software program now. Huh? Okay, so the linear elasticity analysis module is a prerequisite to run most advanced analysis types. Nonlinear fraction mechanics module buckling linear. Symbol on this site is linear solver, and the same one from the alien contact message. Oh. So this one came up before in an alien contact message, and that's what it looks like. Requires the basic stress check module. The linear elasticity analysis module is the initial building block of the seamless hierarchy modeling framework that consists of the foundation of stress check. Okay, and then over here I got keywords found on line 18F data from the words direct tensor form. Repetitive word is continuum, mechanics, alluring finite strain tensor, infinitesimal strain theory, linear momentum, boundary wave problem, equation of motion, Newton's second law, vector, Einstein, Cartesian, coordinate, elastic, homogeneous, and Poisson. So there's the product highlights of this thing, and it's at www.esrd.com. You can look it up there. Stress check that came up. Linear dynamics analysis. The response of the structure to ground motion is calculated in the time domain and all phase information. Then it goes into linear elasticity, a mathematical study of how solid objects deform and become inertially stressed due to prescribed loading conditions. Linear elasticity models materials as continua. Linear elasticity is a simplification of the more general nonlinear theory of elasticity, and it is a branch of continuum mechanics. The fundamental linearizing assumptions of linear elasticity are infinitesimal strains or small deformations or strains, and linear relationships between the components of stress and strain. Okay, there's the continuum mechanics. There's a graph for you to look at. This came up before. There's equations covering it. Direct tensor equations, that's what they look like. I'm losing my voice here. I got no water. Forgot to get my water. Okay, so there's equation of motion. So this has all different equations with it. I believe this is on Wikipedia. So if you Google it, you'll find it. My thoughts on isotropic homogeneous media, January 29, 2012. This is all mathematical stuff, right? But look at has the keywords in it. So first we have all sorts of words come up for various tests and theories written by people. Then it switches back to a computerized program that mentions that same type of wording in it, but a totally different context. It reminds me of remote viewing, where you're given random words and numbers. You have to figure out how they are connected and go with your dreams, visions, and notate it all. Then you put it together like a puzzle. This is what's happening with the Wow Seti data as well. Interesting. Repetitive word coming up in line 18, always pay attention to those, is continuum mechanics. In continuum mechanics, the infinitesimal strain theory, sometimes called small deformation theory, small displacement theory, or small displacement gradient theory, deals with infinitesimal deformations of a continuum body. Eulerian finite strain tensor. Plane strain state in a continuum. Now, isn't this interesting? We had this little guy come up and something else. It was talking about, it was a formula, and it was an actual invention, and it had something to do with stress. Huh. Cool. That's something to think about. I don't know. It's in the line 18. In the last 25 videos, that thing came up. Python algorithm, CDF. Okay, so I did a Google on them to see where they are. So Python's on line 18, B and D, F line 12. Apache is line 18, B, D, F line 12. And Perl 6 comes up on all these lines. I'm not going to read them all. I'll be blogging these probably within the next month or so you can look at the notes then, okay? Because I'm up to 34 minutes now on this video, and you guys are probably just ready to pull your hair out. I know I am. Mod Python, the word model, module, line 12, and mod Ruby, see mod Python results. GNA is Gauss-Newton, Poisson-Gaussin, cumulative distribution function. So basically all these words are coming up on all these different lines. So this is where I start connecting stuff, because it's line 18Y, right? Connected tags, your interface, your PCL, your QBrid, the star, where this word star comes up in all those. So scientific programming. Hey, we're at the end. January 29, 2012. Thank you for sticking with me if you actually watched this to the end of this video. Found in line 17T3. To do a search on this in Notebook to see what lines are connected with this word. Relativistic electronic positron plasmas. We'll go back to the beginning. So anyways, there's all the data. It looks like I'll be putting it together for you, and then I'll be putting it on a website. Not only the Victoria Stafford website, but also I have a Wow Seti website set up where I'm going to start putting the formulas and stuff so we can start comparing the notes from them, okay? Thank you for watching. I'm going to go eat my supper now.